Here's something that keeps me up at night. The average DIY investor loses nearly $47,000 over 30 years because they refuse to spend 15 minutes rebalancing their portfolio. Not because they made bad picks, not because they panicked sold, but because they literally did nothing. Let me explain what's happening right now in your portfolio. And I mean right now. You built your perfect allocation, right? Maybe it's 70% stocks and 30% bonds. Maybe it's 60-40. You felt smart, you diversified, you set it and forgot it. But here's the plot twist. Your allocation isn't the same anymore. Your stocks have probably crushed it over the past few years, which sounds amazing until you realize your 70-30 split has turned into 78-22. You're now way riskier than you intended. That's drift, and it's silently happening in millions of portfolios. Why does this matter? Because drift doesn't just make your allocation misaligned, it actually locks you into a slow, painful wealth destruction cycle. You're taking on more volatility without earning proportional returns. You're exposed to crashes you didn't plan for. And worst of all, you're leaving compound growth on the table because you're not systematically buying low anymore. Let's do the math. If your portfolio drifts by just 1-2% per year, and that drift compounds for 30 years at an average return of 7%, we're talking about $47,000 in pure lost opportunity. That's a car. That's a year of retirement. That's your 60-year-old self yelling at your current 30-year-old self for being lazy. So what's the solution? Rebalancing. And here's the thing. It's not complicated and it's not expensive, but it is powerful. Rebalancing is the simple act of selling some of what's done well and buying more of what hasn't. Buying low, selling high. That's literally it. That's the whole game. Now here's where most people get confused. They think rebalancing means obsessively tinkering every month. Wrong. The actual rule is simple. If any asset class drifts more than 5% from its target allocation, you rebalance. That's it. For most people, that means once or twice a year. For some, it's once every 2 years. Not exactly a time sink. Let me show you how to calculate your drift. This is the easiest part. Let's say your target is 70% stocks, 30% bonds. You have $100,000. That means $70,000 in stocks and $30,000 in bonds. Now 6 months pass. Stocks crush it and go up 15%. Bonds stay flat. Now your stocks are worth $80,500 and your bonds are $30,000. Your total is $110,500. So your actual allocation is now 72.8% stocks and 27.2% bonds. You've drifted 2.8%. You're still in the safe zone, so you wait. But maybe another year goes by. Stocks keep running. Now you're at 76.24. You've hit that 5% threshold. Time to rebalance. You sell $3,500 of stocks and buy $3,500 of bonds. Boom. Back to 70-30. And here's the psychological magic. You just bought bonds at their lowest point without even thinking about it. You were forced to buy low by your own system. Now here's where tax-smart people get even more aggressive. And this is the second pattern interrupt. Tax loss harvesting. If you're in a taxable account, not a 401k or IRA, you can use rebalancing to sell positions that have losses and offset capital gains. So instead of just rebalancing, you're also reducing your tax bill. That's another 0.30-0.8% annual drag you're eliminating. Over 30 years, That's another $15,000, $25,000 back in your pocket. Here's the move. Rebalance inside retirement accounts first. No tax implications. Then, in taxable accounts, look for positions that are underwater and sell those while buying replacements that give you similar exposure. You get rebalancing and a tax cut. That's the 1-2 punch. Now let me hit you with the biggest mistake I see. Most people rebalance at the worst possible time, after they feel like markets are out of whack. That's backwards. Emotions are the enemy. You need a mechanical system. My recommendation? Pick a date. I use January 1st. Or your birthday, whatever. Once a year, you pull your allocations, check the drift, and rebalance if needed. Boom, done. No feelings, no market timing, just math. Here's your 10-minute action plan, starting today. First, log into your brokerage right now. Write down your current allocation in dollars and percentages. Don't overthink it. Stocks versus bonds is enough to start. Second, decide your target allocation based on your age and risk tolerance. Rule of thumb: your bond percentage equals your age. 30 years old, 30% bonds. 50% bonds. Simple. Third, calculate your drift. Current allocation minus target allocation equals how far you've drifted. Fourth, if drift is over 5%, execute one rebalancing trade. Sell high, buy low. That's literally all you do. Fifth, mark your calendar for exactly 1 year from now. Repeat. That's it. That's the system that's going to save you $47,000 and keep your portfolio on track for the next 30 years. The biggest takeaway here is this: wealth building isn't about finding the perfect fund or timing the market or reading earnings reports. It's about boring, mechanical, consistent behavior. Rebalancing is the most boring thing you can do, which is exactly why it works. It removes emotion. It forces discipline. It keeps you from drifting into risk you don't want. So here's my challenge to you. This week, spend 15 minutes calculating your portfolio drift. Then drop a comment below telling me what you found. Did you drift? How much? I read every comment, and I'm genuinely curious what's happening in your portfolio. If this video helped you, smash that like button. It helps this channel reach more people who need this message. Subscribe for more wealth-building strategies that actually work. And if you have your biggest money question, leave it in the comments. That might be the topic of next week's video. Remember, you're not looking for get-rich-quick. You're looking for slow, boring, mechanical wealth building. Rebalancing is the boring that pays off. Disclaimer: this is not financial advice. Always consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.